It is not usually our style to confront and criticize a company like Entergy.
But Jefferson Parish President John Young is blasting Entergy for not getting the power back fast enough. And the Iceman cometh, but where? The long search for basic supplies. And good evening, I'm Susan Rosejan.
And I'm Kurt Sprang. Isaac is gone, but the job of finding food, water, ice, and gas is just getting started.
And our reporter Vanessa Bolano joins that search.
We've dealt with Isaac, but the road to normalcy is far from over for most of us.
If my gas gauge wasn't on E, I would have gone to the North Shore and got some. But that's 37 miles to Covington. I wouldn't have made it.
Now I have no more cash. Okay, I can't go to the bank and get money out because the ATMs are dead.
It's the basic necessities people are struggling to find that are testing our limits.
Why doesn't a bank have a generator?
Some have run out of cash. Others are searching for gas, and plenty just want to get their hands on a bag of ice. At the Ice House in Kenner, they've rerouted trucks from as far as Dallas to keep up with demand.
A lot of people left for Katrina. 80–90% of the people seemed like they stayed for this storm, so as soon as the winds died down and the rain stopped, people were out looking for ice and water and whatever they could find.
And when you can't find food, water, ice, or cash, this is what many would call a last resort. A distribution center run by the National Guard. Each family gets 2 bags of ice, 12 meals, and a case of water. At Zephyr Field, it runs from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and over 1,000 have come today. But there is relief in sight.
About 2 days ago, there was a line about 200 feet long getting in Rouse's. Now it's sort of back to normal.
Grocery stores are beginning to open, and while this long weekend may not feel like a holiday, it may be a reminder to be thankful for what we do have.
Now, right now we're outside the Rouse's on Veterans and Causeway, and they got lights on and they're open because they have a generator. Now they're open till 11 p.m. or until the last cashier heads home. Right about now, there's about 3 or 4 cashiers left. A lot of them live in places where there is no electricity, so they don't want to be getting home too late. So it looks like slowly things are going to get back to normal, hopefully through this weekend. But of course, a lot of us are waiting on our power to turn back on for that to happen. Reporting live in Metairie, Vanessa Bolano, WGNO News.
Stress and progress. Thank you, Vanessa. Frustrations are boiling over across the metro area. WGNO reporter Tyler Wing reports on people steamed because they don't have power.
How's life been without power?
Oh, I just wish for it to come back on as soon as possible. It's been killing me.
With dangling power lines brought down by blown over trees, Bennett Wolf says it's lucky nobody was seriously injured on Metairie Court.
All we wanted was somebody to come and cut the trees.
What's the hardest part about all this?
The frustration of no one listening to a crisis situation.
We need lights! God, we need lights!
Neighbors in Central City are pleading for help.
It's hot, trying to feed the children. And every day you got to do this. I think Energy, I think they're wrong for that.
Preparing for another restless night without power?
Yes, we are. And it was very disgusting last night. We watched the Energy people pass us up back and forth with no lights. The mosquitoes was eating up the kids. It was very horrible.
They could have planned better for this?
Yeah, they should have planned better. Yeah.
When are you due?
Monday.
This woman is doing everything she can to protect her unborn baby girl she's already given the name Trinity.
It's horrible without those lights. I can't see, I can't take my insulin.
How have you been coping being pregnant and no power?
Trying to stay cool, cold showers, ice, dumping ice water on me. Please, please, please. Everybody say please.
Please.
And as of today, Entergy has a storm team of 12,000 workers fixing power in affected areas. They say it takes a crew 3 hours to fix 1 utility pole. We're live in the CBD. Kurt and Susie, we'll send it back to you.
Okay, Tyler, but a lot of people think those are just excuses. So where are those power trucks? We know where the staging areas are. But Jefferson Parish President John Young says the repair crews need to be working instead of resting. He says the company's CEO, Charles Rice, should be fired. And he wants the state to investigate the company and impose a $500,000 fine for Entergy's failure to provide reliable service.
I've gotten calls from citizens since after the winds left saying there's live wires down, power poles down in neighborhoods, dangerous to children, and Entergy has not come out. Where is Entergy? We see their trucks. We see their trucks parked. We see a lot of Jefferson Parish Public Works vehicles. We see Jefferson Parish employees everywhere, but we don't see Entergy doing anything.
And Young says Entergy restored power to about 10,000 customers today, but at that rate, it would take 2 weeks to get all the parish power back on. We have Entergy's response, and you are probably not going to like it, coming up later in this newscast. Meantime, Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney got a first-hand look at our damage across the state today. Romney said he wants to understand the extent of the devastation, and Governor Jindal gave him a tour of Lafitte. President Obama will be in Louisiana on Monday.
7 years ago today, we were seeing horrible images from the Superdome Convention Center and other places where people gathered hoping to escape Hurricane Katrina. This time around with Isaac, maybe we'll set new goals to protect the latest group of victims. The Great Wall of Lake Borgne looks like it could be added to the list of wonders of the world, but it's just a small stretch in a multi-billion-dollar protection system that this week perhaps kept the water away and certainly gave people a sense of confidence. The dome is sitting pretty this time around with a shiny new three-pointed star. But areas in Lower Plaquemines Parish, money doesn't matter. From mansions to modest, Isaac's flooding is destroying anything that isn't already out of reach. A breach in the Braithwaite levee is now allowing the water to leave. Still, airboats are more roadworthy than cars, and there's no way to know just how much of the area's economy remains underwater. Even along the New Orleans lakefront, the airport looks better suited to be a marina. And in Lafitte, where people threw everything they could at Isaac, sandbags, HESCO baskets, tiger dams, and plain old rocks, the real difference maker on escaping may be how long the legs are on your home. And while Isaac's winds have left the New Orleans area, Tangipahoa Parish is bracing for a possible new flood.
More than 45,000 people are still forced out of their homes, waiting and praying that the Tangipahoa Lake Dam will hold.
You can hear the Tangipahoa River as it rushes just inches from the road above. 46,000 people who live around this river have been asked to evacuate.
I really didn't get everything. I just grabbed my purse and took off, and my kids.
But even as evacuees fill shelters, the situation here appears to be improving.
But I feel more comfortable today than I did yesterday.
Parish President Gordon Burgess tells me the Tangipahoa Lake was overflowing yesterday into the Tangipahoa River.
We knew it was a lot of water. We knew that it was a possible breach in the lake, the dam itself.
The state was prepared to intentionally break the lake's dam and flood the river to ease some of that pressure. But instead, the state released a foot of water from the lake overnight. And Burgess tells me water levels have held steady.
I feel better because of releasing that pressure against this dam.
But he insists the government is still prepared for widespread flooding.
State officials have set up this staging area just in case. The National Guard is here, and there are dozens of charter buses to evacuate people if necessary.
Shelters here will remain open.
No stretch of the imagination are we out of the woods. Folks, we've got to be sure that give us another 24 hours, give us another 48 hours, whatever it's going to take to.
And check this out. Hurricane Isaac may be a thing of the past, but the cleanup has just begun for neighbors of this blighted house next door. Neighbors on South Prior Street consider themselves lucky after the blighted structure collapsed on their home and car and caused minor damage. Family members in the house at the time of the collapse were unhurt.
We heard this rumbling and shaking in the house, and we jumped up and we looked out the window, and everything still looked like, you know, it was okay. And then finally my husband decided to open the front door, and to our surprise, the house was on my car.
Officials say they have a list of 40 blinded houses that have damaged other property, and the list keeps growing.
And entire neighborhoods in Laplace are still underwater tonight. In some places, the water rose 8 feet. But as you know, even 2 feet is enough to ruin your home. That story from our reporter, Kenny Lopez.
Here in Laplace in the River Forest subdivision, the water is still high. It's going down a little, but not fast enough for these homeowners who right now are working hard to get their furniture out. They're cleaning out their carpets. They're getting their most valuable possessions out. It's been a tough day for a lot of them. And check it out right behind me. You see the high waters. You still see the power lines down. It's still a mess, but these people are making it through.
If it was on the ground, we're gonna toss it out. You know, if it was still safe, we're gonna keep it.
When Chastity Norris's home began to flood, she didn't have enough time to get everything out.
Trying to save all our furniture that we still do have that's still good. Like this here, we're gonna leave these.
Days later, she's grateful the beds are fine, but the carpet's destroyed.
Oh, it stinks really bad in here.
With so much work to do, she's trying to stay calm after the storm.
If you want to get all in a rage and stuff, you know, you're not going to get stuff done right.
Down the road, more homes underwater.
We can't do anything, really. I mean, I consider the house pretty much uninhabitable.
Edward Gunnels is tired and misses life's simple necessities.
I'd love to go take a shower. I haven't taken a shower since Tuesday.
For them, it's about getting back what the storm took away.
Get all this done so all this right here could be in our past.
A lot of these folks say that they've lived here all their lives, and this is the worst storm they've ever seen. In Laplace, I'm Kenny Lopez, Wgno News.
And in Pearl River County, Mississippi, many residents are dealing with dangerously fast rising floodwater.
And some have had to get out of there by boat. Our meteorologist Molly Rosenblatt shows you how tough things are there.
Just from spending a few hours here, we can tell that this is a very close-knit neighborhood here on the east side of Picayune. Neighbors have gathered to support each other. They're all gathering around during this time of disaster. You can see where the streets are flooded, and it's pretty much a disaster scene back there. Some people are dealing with 6 to 7 feet of water.
Born and raised in Picayune, Mayor Ed Pinero says he's never seen flooding in his hometown like this before.
That's Dr. Whitehead's house.
Pinero, along with other local authorities, are using their own boats to get their neighbors and friends to safety.
So we're going to get you in the boat. We're going to take good care of you. All right? We're going to bring you back. You know, we're just having to coax him. We have Reverend Hart out here with us so we can talk to his neighbors and colleagues and just let them know we need to go.
John Satchel was reluctant to leave, but it's not safe for him to stay in his house anymore.
It's very difficult for me to leave. This ain't never happened. Before I had to leave, I'd be shut in, but I could, you know, I wasn't no water get in the house, and now this something else. This more than an ocean here.
All of this water moved in just the last 24 hours, turning their streets into a lake.
And you know, when you think you get past the storm and everything's going to be okay, everything drained well, but once the creeks and rivers swole and Lake Pontchartrain swole up, everything starts backing up. And that's where we're here today.
Do we got any more in there?
Pinero says no matter what, nobody gets left behind.
We're bringing everybody out. We're bringing cats, dogs. We got a frog a little while ago, so everybody's coming with them. Whoever their pets are, we're bringing everybody. Nobody's staying behind.
There's nothing I can do but pray and go on. Life still goes on, right?
And Mayor Pinero tells us that the water is still rising. All they can really do is wait for it to go down. At this point, really all he cares about is getting his people out of their flooded homes and to safety. In Picayune, I'm meteorologist Molly Rosenblatt. Back to you.
And the last we heard, those floodwaters were still moving in from the nearby Hobolochito Creek.
And many people on the North Shore just didn't expect to get so much water. The water is leaving, but the cleanup is just getting underway. Old Town was busy with many people coming back to assess the damage and start cleaning up the mess. We caught up with Matthew Keel, a business owner on Keel Street, who just yesterday had to use a boat to get into the neighborhood.
And put the P-row in the water and paddle. I suppose that, I'm guessing about a mile and a half maybe, we paddled in. We were able to get out and walk a couple of spots, but it got deep, knee deep. We both got, my wife and I got in the P-row and paddled in to check our building just to see what we were facing.
People in Old Town say the source of their flooding problem is Bayou Bonfuca, which started rising just like a lot of other waterways Thursday morning. Coming up, passengers on the Carnival cruise ship elated to finally dock, and Entergy's answer to everyone's complaint.